Alright guys, so the project today is upgrading a CNC mill from Mach 3 to PathPilot. So with all the Suzuki parts that I've been working on and trying to make, I thought why not get a mill and learn how to make them myself. So a couple weeks ago I picked up a Tormach PCNC 1100, but it's a 2010 model running Mach 3. I've never used Mach 3, don't know how to use it, so I thought if I have to learn something new, might as well learn the new stuff, even though PathPilot's been out for a while apparently. But that's what I'm going to try to do with this mill is update the control software from Mach 3 to PathPilot. And I just want to make a little video showing you guys how to do it in case you've got a Series 2 or Series 3 and you want a little bit more modern interface with a few more cool features. So the three things that you really need: updated PC, the USB drive with PathPilot from Tormach, and then I guess a little control board from Mesa. So Tormach sells an updated PC system for like $1,000, and I figured why not? Let's try to build one because really this is the key part of it. So this Mesa board, this is a Mesa 7i92, and this is the key to it. Ethernet connection from your computer, and then the DB25 to the machine controller, just like normal. It runs on 5 volts, so you can pick up a power supply from Amazon. So I got this whole setup for about $125. The USB drive with PathPilot on it to load onto a fresh build, $25 from Tormach. And then what I did was I hopped on Marketplace and picked up this HP all-in-one computer because looking at Tormach's newer controllers, they've got some cool. They've got cool touch screens because PathPilot will let you do some cool stuff that way. And so I grabbed one of these all-in-ones that has a touch screen. So hopefully, loading all this stuff on there, I can get the touch screen to work too. If not, I only spent $80 on a new computer, so that'll be fine. But hopefully we can get all those cool features to work. So what I'm going to do now is kind of put you over my shoulder. We're going to try to load the software and everything um, onto the computer, hook up the controller, and can't really see what happens on the machine just yet because I'm still waiting on a cable to get here. So we'll have a kind of a follow-up to this one, but we'll at least figure it out together and have some cool updated controller for the machine. Alright, so you plug the USB drive in, get the computer over to BIOS, and then this is where it's a little tricky. So with newer systems you have to enable it for a legacy boot. So first you have to go over to secure boot configuration and just enable the legacy there and disable the secure boot. That way it'll read the USB drive you got plugged in. And then you can go back and make sure that the legacy boot is not grayed out, and that way you can select it. Sometimes you might have to toggle that to enable, and then accept that, and then you can go to File, Save, and Exit, and then it'll reboot and boot from the USB drive. Sorry for the creepy reflection. So here now it reboots, and it should go to the USB, but it gives us a little "Are you sure?" message, and if you are sure, enter in this 4-digit code. So I had to enter in the 4-digit code, then hit enter, and then the default option there, the first one, you just can leave it alone. You don't even have to hit a button, so it'll select it and start loading PathPilot onto the computer. And Tormach has these instructions on their website too. It's just really the legacy boot piece that you have to contend with when you're trying to put it on a newer computer. So a couple options. I don't know why this didn't really come through. but we're just essentially saying yes and yes. And then you can see here, this is the program, so it'll start loading, and then it'll give you an OK message at the end to restart. So I'm going to try to fast forward through this, make it go really quick, because I think it took probably like 5 or 6 minutes for it to get everything loaded. So let's speed this up a little bit, make it take 10 seconds. All right, and now we can reboot it. So now it's booting back up into the Tormach PathPilot software. So that's what we wanted it to do. So success so far. Looking good. License agreement. So just agree to that. And then, so here's where you can configure your network. You'll see an error message here in a second. Not really an error, but a warning about an onboard controller I've got for networking. Here, this driver says it messes it up. So I didn't set up the network configuration this time just because going through it the first time, it kept glitching a little bit whenever I had that enabled. So I'm going to worry about that after the fact. But here now you can go and select your previous machine models. So you can hit that. I'm just making sure here I've got my little interface board connected and powered up, because this is what does the talking to the machine. So I just want to make sure it's connected and powered up before I select my machine. So we're hooked up there. I can go and select my Series 2. I don't have any upgrades. And then here you can see they found the network adapter. We'll skip that. Because what I'll end up doing is probably getting a USB Wi-Fi adapter just to plug in. I guess that's why they sell one on their site, for this very reason. So I'll probably just hop on Amazon and pick up a cheap one. Alright, now it looks like we've got PathPilot loaded. I can click the buttons, change to the different menus. Looks pretty good. Now does touch work? Touch is off a little bit, but I think it's just really the screen resolution. So I bet you there's something we can do to kind of fix that. So what I'll probably do is do a little bit more research and see how we can get it to boot into just Linux, and then have PathPilot as a application, and then so that way it'll look a little bit better, and we can use it as a regular computer too, not just for PathPilot. And so we can exit out, gives a little message making sure it's okay to shut down the controller. And then there's a final message that pops up just saying it's safe to turn off, and then you can turn it off. Yep, there it is. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Be sure to check it again in a week or two when I've got some more updates, and hopefully we'll have this machine up and running in no time.